The message flashed across every human military display in stark red letters. Unknown alien fleet detected entering Sol system. Estimated arrival at Mars orbit, 47 hours. I remember exactly where I was when it came through, hunched over my console in a strategic command bunker beneath New Denver, watching as the tracking systems lit up with hundreds, then thousands of signatures. The coffee I'd been drinking slipped from my trembling fingers, spattering across the floor. We'd known we weren't alone in the galaxy for decades. The ruins on Mars and the mysterious signals from deep space had confirmed that. But in all our years of space exploration and colonization, we'd never made direct contact with an advanced civilization. Until now. As the fleet drew closer, we could make out more details. Their ships were beautiful in a terrifying way, gleaming silver-white curves that seemed to bend space itself around them. The smallest ones were the size of our largest carriers. The biggest, well, let's just say they made our orbital defense platforms look like toys in comparison. They broadcast their message on all frequencies, in perfect English. We are the Galactic Empire. Your species has expanded beyond its prescribed boundaries. You will be contained. Resistance is inadvisable. Just like that. No negotiations, no attempts at diplomacy. They'd already decided our fate. The UN Security Council convened an emergency session. The colonial governors on Mars and Europa were patched in via quantum link. Everyone had the same question. Do we fight or do we submit? The Empire clearly had technology far beyond ours. Their ships could probably wipe us out without breaking a sweat. But there was something they didn't understand about humans, something that would cost them dearly. I'll never forget Admiral Chen's response when someone suggested surrender. She stood up, her weathered face set like stone, and said, "Throughout our history, humanity has faced overwhelming odds. We've stared into the abyss of extinction multiple times. Each time, we've not only survived, we've emerged stronger. These aliens think they can simply walk in and contain us. They're about to learn a very painful lesson about human nature." We sent back a simple reply. We warned you to run. The aliens actually paused their advance, probably trying to understand why a supposedly inferior species would dare threaten them. That hesitation gave us the time we needed to execute Operation Firewall. See, humanity had been preparing for this possibility ever since we found those ruins on Mars. We developed technologies we kept hidden, strategies we never revealed. The aliens thought they were facing a primitive species that had barely reached its own solar system. They had no idea what we were truly capable of. As I watched the first wave of our counterattack launch, I can't help but feel a mix of pride and terror. Pride in humanity's resilience, in our unwillingness to bow before tyrants, even ones from the stars. Terror at what this war might cost us. But we have no choice. The Empire made their decision when they threatened our freedom, our very existence. The real question is, did they make the right choice? Because now they're about to face something they've never encountered before, humans fighting for survival. And if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that humanity is at its most dangerous when backed into a corner. The first shots have been fired. The greatest war in human history is about to begin, and I'm recording this so that whatever happens next, the galaxy will know. We didn't start this fight, but by all that exists, we're going to finish it. The first 72 hours of the war redefined everything we thought we knew about combat. While the Empire's ships possessed technology that seemed like magic to us, we had two critical advantages: home field knowledge and sheer unpredictability. Our fleets didn't fight like any alien force they'd encountered before. We didn't follow their rigid formations or adhere to their conventional tactics. Operation Firewall began with what appeared to be a massive retreat. We pulled our defense forces back from Mars, seemingly abandoning our colonies there. The Empire, predictably, moved to secure the planet. That's when they discovered our first surprise: the Martian dust storms, which we learned to control decades ago, suddenly intensified to unprecedented levels. Their sophisticated sensors, calibrated for vacuum warfare, were blinded by billions of magnetically charged particles. While they struggled to maintain formation in the artificial storms, we unveiled our second surprise. Those abandoned colonies, They housed our quantum entanglement weapons, technology we'd reverse engineered from the ancient ruins. The aliens never saw the attacks coming. You can't detect or block something that doesn't technically travel through space. I watched from my command station as dozens of their smaller ships simply disappeared, their matter scattered across dimensions. The larger vessels proved more resilient, but the damage was done. For the first time in their history, the Galactic Empire had suffered significant losses to a primitive species. Their response was swift and brutal. They launched a counterattack aimed not at our military assets, but at Earth's orbital infrastructure. Our space elevators, satellite networks, and civilian stations, all targeted simultaneously. They thought destroying our space-based economy would force us to surrender. They didn't expect us to sacrifice those installations ourselves, turning them into massive kinetic weapons. As our evacuated stations fell from orbit, their mass drivers, originally designed for launching cargo, fired continuous streams of hypervelocity projectiles at the Imperial fleet. Basic physics became our ally. At those speeds, even primitive human ammunition could pierce their advanced shields. But we paid a heavy price. The loss of our space elevators crippled our ability to move resources off-planet. Our colonies on Mars and Europa were effectively cut off. The Empire's blockade prevented any conventional ships from breaking through. We were fighting a two-front war, one in space and another against our own logistical limitations. That's when the resistance movements on Mars began to make their presence known. Led by veterans of the Martian Mining Guild, they employed guerrilla tactics that would have made Earth's ancient freedom fighters proud. The Empire found itself unable to establish any permanent bases on the Red Planet's surface. Every time they landed significant forces, the Dust Demons, as our Martian fighters called themselves, would strike from hidden underground complexes, then disappear back into the labyrinth of tunnels they'd spent generations building. But the Empire's resources seemed endless. For every ship we destroyed, two more appeared to take its place. They began adapting to our tactics, developing countermeasures to our quantum weapons. The war was quickly becoming a battle of attrition, one that humanity, despite all our innovations and courage, couldn't hope to win through conventional means. That's when we discovered something in the Martian ruins that changed everything. Something the Empire had been desperately trying to prevent us from finding. A truth about their supposed superiority that would shake the foundations of their entire civilization. But first, we had to survive long enough to use this knowledge, and the Empire, sensing our discovery, was preparing to unleash their full might against Earth. The real war, we realized, was only just beginning. The discovery in the Martian ruins hit our xenoarchaeologists like a thunderbolt. Hidden beneath layers of ancient data crystals and quantum-locked vaults, we found the truth about the Empire's origins. They weren't the original galactic civilization they claimed to be. They were usurpers, inheritors of technology they barely understood, ruling through fear and stolen power. The real architects of their technology, a species known only as the predecessors, had vanished eons ago. But they'd left behind a message, specifically encoded in a way that only a species that had developed along Earth-like evolutionary paths could decode. In other words, they'd been waiting for us. As we translated more of the data, a pattern emerged. The Empire's supposedly superior beings were essentially galactic parasites. They conquered and absorbed other civilizations, not out of malice, but out of desperate necessity. Their biology was failing them. Each generation became weaker, more dependent on their stolen technology. They needed fresh genetic material to survive in Earth. With its diverse biosphere and adaptable human population, was their latest target. We were never meant to be contained. We were meant to be harvested. The knowledge spread through our ranks like wildfire. Every human fighter, from the Dust Demons on Mars to the orbital defense crews, now understood the truth. We weren't just fighting for survival anymore. We were fighting to prevent our own species from becoming genetic battery packs for a dying empire. The Empire must have realized we'd discovered their secret. Their next attack was unlike anything we'd seen before. They deployed what our sensors identified as world-breaker ships, massive vessels capable of literally cracking planets. 3 of them appeared just beyond Luna's orbit, their weapons powering up for what we could only assume was a last resort attempt to destroy Earth rather than let us expose their secret to the galaxy. What happened next would be remembered as humanity's finest hour. Every ship we had, from military vessels to civilian transports retrofitted with weapons, formed a defensive line between Earth and the world breakers. The colonial forces on Mars launched a desperate offensive to divide the Empire's attention. Even the independent asteroid miners joined the fight, using their fusion-powered mining rigs as improvised weapons. But the Empire's world breakers were unlike anything we'd faced before. The first shot from one of them vaporized a quarter of our fleet. The second shot destabilized Luna's orbit. We were watching our own moon begin to break apart when Command initiated Protocol Prometheus, the riskiest strategy ever conceived by human military planners. See, we'd found something else in those ruins. The predecessors hadn't just left us messages, they'd left us blueprints, instructions for creating technology so advanced it bordered on miraculous. Technology the Empire had never fully mastered because they lacked something fundamental that humans possessed in abundance: the ability to innovate, to think beyond established patterns. As the world breakers charged for their final attack, we activated the device we built using those blueprints, a device that could rewrite the laws of physics within a localized space. We had only one shot at this. If it worked, we might save humanity. If it failed, at least the Empire wouldn't have anything left to harvest. I remember the silence that fell over the command center as we initiated the sequence. The device powered up, drawing energy from what the predecessors called the spaces between spaces. The Empire's ships, seemingly invincible just moments before, suddenly stopped in their tracks. What happened next would change the course of not just this war, but the entire galaxy's future. The predecessor device activated with a flash that seemed to bend reality itself. For a moment, every screen in the command center went dark. When they came back online, what we saw defied explanation. The world breakers hung motionless in space, caught in what our scientists would later call a quantum probability freeze. But that wasn't what made everyone's jaw drop. Behind the frozen Empire ships, space itself began to unfold. The only way I can describe it is like watching a flower bloom in dimensions that shouldn't exist. Through this impossible opening, ships began to emerge. Not Empire ships. These were different. They moved like liquid light, their hulls seamlessly shifting and adapting to space around them. Our sensors couldn't even classify them as solid matter. That's when we received a transmission, not through conventional channels, but directly into our minds. We have watched and waited. Humanity has proven worthy. The voice felt ancient, impossibly vast, yet somehow warm. The predecessors hadn't vanished. They'd evolved beyond physical form, and our use of their device had signaled our readiness to meet them. But the Empire wasn't finished. As the predecessor ships approached, the Imperial fleet launched a desperate countermeasure. Their flagship, a behemoth that dwarfed even the world breakers, initiated what our sensors identified as a dimensional collapse. They were attempting to tear open a hole in space-time itself, a last resort weapon that would destroy everything in the solar system, including themselves. The predecessor's message continued: your species carries a unique gift, the capacity to bridge the gap between the physical and the transcendent. The Empire fears this potential. What we became through eons of evolution, you could achieve in mere generations. But first, you must survive. That's when we received an emergency transmission from Mars. The quantum weapon sites we'd built there were detecting something unprecedented. The Empire's dimensional collapse wasn't just threatening our solar system. It was resonating with ancient machinery buried deep beneath the Martian surface. Machinery that had been waiting dormant for millions of years. The entire red planet began to hum with energy. Our Martian colonies reported massive earthquakes as something vast and ancient stirred beneath the surface. The Empire's commanders, visible through our long-range scanners, showed the first signs of fear we'd ever seen from them. They knew what was awakening, and it terrified them more than defeat. In the command center, data poured in faster than we could process it. The Martian crust was cracking open along predetermined lines, revealing structures that defied our understanding of engineering. The Empire's dimensional collapse had accidentally activated some kind of planetary scale mechanism, a failsafe left behind by the predecessors. But we quickly realized this failsafe was as much a test as it was a weapon. The predecessors were giving us a choice. The machinery could be controlled, but only by human minds working in perfect synchronization. We would have to prove we could unite as a species, coordinating our thoughts and actions with precision that seemed impossible. The Empire's dimensional collapse was accelerating. The predecessors' ships maintained their position, watching, waiting to see what we would choose. In less than an hour, either humanity would ascend to a new level of existence, or our solar system would be reduced to scattered atoms across dimensional space. The fate of not just Earth, but perhaps all sentient life in the galaxy, now rested on our ability to do something no human had ever done before. As I looked around the command center at my fellow officers, I could see in their eyes the same realization. Every war, every struggle, every triumph and failure in human history had been preparing us for this moment. Time seemed to flow differently as humanity faced its greatest challenge. On Earth, billions of minds turned toward Mars, guided by an emergency broadcast that connected every quantum communications device on and off-world. The predecessors had left us instructions buried in our own DNA, fragments of knowledge that only made sense when thousands, then millions of human minds worked in concert. Through this unprecedented mental link, we could feel the ancient machinery of Mars responding to our collective will. The Imperial flagship's dimensional collapse was now visible to the naked eye, a growing void of absolute darkness that consumed light itself. We had minutes, perhaps seconds, to act. That's when something remarkable happened. The dust demons of Mars, those hardened guerrilla fighters who'd resisted the Empire so fiercely, were the first to fully sync with the planetary machinery. Their years of survival in the harsh Martian environment had given them a unique connection to the planet. Through them, we all felt it, the true power of the predecessors' legacy. Mars began to transform. Not just the surface, but the entire planet shifted like a giant puzzle box solving itself. The Empire's fleet frantically fired everything they had at us, but their weapons dissipated harmlessly against shields that had waited millions of years to reactivate. The red planet's core itself became a power source beyond anything we'd imagined. What happened next defied every law of physics we thought we knew. Mars didn't just stop the dimensional collapse. It absorbed it, channeled it, reshaped it. The void that should have destroyed us became a lens, focusing the combined mental energy of humanity into something new. Each human mind connected to the network became a node in a vast, living quantum computer. The Empire's flagship tried to retreat, but it was too late. The combined power of humanity's consciousness, amplified by Martian technology and guided by the predecessors' wisdom, reached out across space, not to destroy, but to transform. Every Imperial ship, every piece of their stolen technology, began to resonate with a frequency that matched our own. We could see the truth now. The Empire's entire civilization was built on a fundamental misunderstanding of the predecessors' technology. They used it to dominate, to conquer, to contain. But its true purpose was to connect, to elevate, to transcend. Through our unity, we'd unlocked its real power. The Imperial crews had a choice: evolve with us or fade into obsolescence. Many chose to join our consciousness, their minds adding to our collective understanding. Others fled, their ships vanishing into the depths of space. The predecessors watched it all, their liquid light vessels pulsing with what felt like approval. But just as victory seemed certain, we discovered the final test. The power flowing through Mars was too much for the planet to contain. We had minutes before the entire system would overload, potentially turning the red planet into a supernova. The predecessors hadn't just given us power, they'd given us responsibility. In that moment of crisis, humanity made a decision that would echo through the ages. Instead of trying to contain or control the energy, we chose to share it. Through the same network that had connected our minds, we began distributing the power to every human settlement in the solar system. Earth's damaged climate began to heal itself. Europa's ice sheets transformed into crystal cities. Even the asteroid belt began to pulse with new life. The Empire's remaining ships witnessed something they'd never seen in their millennia of conquest. A species that chose to lift itself up not through domination, but through harmony. As Mars stabilized, its surface now gleaming with cities of light and energy, we received one final message from the predecessors. You have succeeded where we failed. The galaxy is ready for humanity not as conquerors, but as teachers. We had not just survived, we had transcended. The war was over, but humanity's real journey was just beginning. It's been 5 years since the day humanity changed forever. The Sol system has become a beacon of hope for countless civilizations who suffered under the Empire's rule. Our transformed Mars, with its gleaming cities and quantum-powered landscapes, serves as a testament to what's possible when a species chooses cooperation over conquest. The Empire's remnants still exist in distant corners of the galaxy, clinging to their old ways, but their influence wanes with each passing day as more worlds discover the truth. The predecessor's technology, now properly understood and implemented, has helped us establish peaceful contact with dozens of emerging civilizations. Each one brings new perspectives, new innovations to our growing galactic community. Our dust demons, those fierce Martian fighters, have become teachers and guides. Their deep connection to the planetary machinery made them natural leaders in this new era. They help other species understand the delicate balance between technological power and spiritual growth that the predecessors tried to teach us all. Earth is healed. The quantum network that once united us in battle now connects humanity in more subtle ways. We've learned to use it not just for communication, but for sharing experiences, memories, and dreams. Our consciousness has expanded, yet we've managed to retain our individuality, something the predecessors say makes us unique among all the species they've guided. The Imperial crews who chose to join us have found peace. Their genetic deterioration has been reversed through a combination of human adaptability and predecessor science. They've become some of our most passionate advocates, helping other species understand that evolution doesn't have to mean leaving everything behind. Europa has become our window to the stars. Its crystal cities, powered by the same energy that transformed Mars, serve as launching points for exploration vessels. Not warships, but ships of discovery and learning. The predecessors join us sometimes, their liquid light vessels a reminder of what humanity might one day become. But perhaps the most profound change has been in how we see ourselves. The knowledge that we carried the key to transcendence in our DNA all along has humbled us. We look back at our history of conflicts and divisions with new eyes, understanding that every challenge we faced helped prepare us for that crucial moment of unity. The asteroid belt, once a dangerous frontier, has become a string of thriving communities. Mining outposts have evolved into research stations where humans and aliens work together to understand the universe's deeper mysteries. The quantum probability technology that once froze Empire ships now helps us explore dimensions we never knew existed. I'm recording this from the observation deck of Humanity's Hope, our first joint human predecessor constructed vessel. Through its quantum glass windows, I can see Earth, Mars, and the transformed solar system that's become a symbol of rebirth across the galaxy. The Empire warned us to stay within our prescribed boundaries, but they never understood that humanity's true boundary was never physical. It was the limit of our imagination. To those who might find this record someday, remember that power itself is neither good nor evil. The same technology that the Empire used to dominate, we use to unite. The same energy they used to destroy, we used to create. The difference wasn't in the tools, but in the hearts of those who wielded them. We still face challenges. The galaxy is vast, and there are mysteries even the predecessors haven't solved. But we face them together now, not just as humanity, but as part of something greater. The war that nearly destroyed us became the catalyst for our greatest transformation. And to think, it all started because an empire didn't understand one simple truth. When you tell humans to stay within boundaries, you're really just daring us to break them. They warned us to run. Instead, we soared.